remember what I said there about, always negotiate a little bit. Whenever there's a conversation happening where you're negotiating, whenever you're making a deal with someone, whenever you're making a transaction, first of all, remember, if you do it well and directly and professionally, and not in the, oh, I'm so uncomfortable that I have to talk about the money now, and I'm sorry to even bother you about this, because that lowers their trust and their confidence and their respect for you. Whereas if you say, however you need to say this to make the transition, and in the beginning, we can say things like, let's talk about the financial side of the relationship. Okay. Or you can say, let's take care of the bookkeeping here. Let's talk about the investment. And if you have a language that you want to use, that's totally fine as well, to kind of help yourself make the transition there. I've done enough transactions and deals and relationships and bought enough stuff that literally when I'm talking to people, I ask them, I just say, well, how do you get paid in a situation like this? How does the financial side work? I like asking, how does the value exchange work? That's one of my favorite questions. How does the value exchange work here? How much do you typically charge? How do you get paid? I want to know everything about it. I also, if I'm working with contractors, I'm constantly asking them, I don't know, like if I'm working on, I always have, some designers and developers around trying to work on building things on our websites and things. I'll say, okay, here's the thing we're talking about. How long do you think that'll take? And then they estimate and they go, oh, I think that's going to take, 3 hours or whatever. And I go, okay, 3 hours. What about if we wanted this? How long would that take? 5 hours. Okay. And what if we do this? Well, that would only take a half hour. Okay. You got a bunch of other stuff on your plate. When could you do those 3 hours? When do you think you could actually, so it's 3 hours of your time. And when do you think you could have it done by? Okay. All right. I want to know all these things. And I say to them, it's not about like trying to micromanage you. It's because I need to budget time and, money and attention. So it's very natural for me to talk about this stuff, or to bring up how we get paid or how I get paid or how we charge, or if someone says, how much is this thing? Now, sure, if you're getting down to, the refined, the subtleties of making a sales pitch when you're talking to someone, there's a way to bring all the different things up. But generally speaking, it's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal. I've been experimenting lately with telling people the price at the beginning of one of my webinars. Never seen anyone do that before in our industry. But I said, I think I'm going to try doing it. And so what I do is I get on and I say, okay, hi, I'm Eben. We welcome everyone. I say, here's what we're going to do today. In the first part, we're going to do this. Second part, we're going to do that. Third part, I'm going to invite you to join our virtual coach program or whatever it is. And by the way, the regular price of the virtual coach is, $2,997. We've also got a, couple of special discounts here where you can, get it for 30% off, and then I go into the rest of the presentation. Now, a lot of people would say that's not the best thing to do. You're going to lose people if you try to tell them the price up front, especially if it's a high ticket, kind of thing. But my experience actually, and I've only done this a few times, was I didn't lose anybody. And I don't really even think it mattered, because nobody was going to buy it or not at the beginning of the class anyway. They're there to learn whatever I'm teaching, and they're going to make that decision later. So they just let that go by. But what it did for me was it allowed me to get it off my chest. So I don't have to worry later. Okay, here's the part where I'm going to talk about the money. Okay, now I got to worry about that. And I got to transition from the teaching. I already told them about the money. So don't worry too much about the money, but do make a list of all the things that are the benefits they're going to get, the pains they're going to avoid, right? That scale of value that we talked about last week. But now what I'd like to recommend that you do is create a guarantee for your client. And the guarantee is going to have a few parts. Okay, so the first part is the guarantee of the result they're going to get. They're going to lose 20 pounds. Their dog's going to stop barking. They're going to start their business. They're going to get a date, whatever it is. Okay, the first part of the guarantee is the result they're going to get. The second part of the guarantee is what happens if they don't get the result they want. And I recommend that you either offer something like they can keep working with you until they get the result, or they can have a refund, or if you come up with something that's equally as good, you can do that too. But those are really easy. Or, you can stay in the program until you get the result. That's an easy one. And then the third part of the guarantee is what you need them to do. And for me, it's show up to your classes and actually do the stuff.